Welcome this morning to the Leadership Challenge Show here live on EBN TV, and we are set again to discuss and converse on matters of leadership in this country. And joining me this morning is my friend and man of God and an expert in strategic management. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
This is David Kamau Wamadu. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And you've been doing well in helping us in conversation of matters that are in the heart of Kenyans. And we want this morning to talk more on tax.
Okay.
Because the hope of many Kenyans is that the cost of living will go down.
True.
But when you begin to see at some of the things that are being introduced, then it begins to look unlikely that taxes, the cost of living can go down. Yesterday, the Anglican bishops, they came to criticize. They said Ruto's tax plans will hurt Kenyans. Let's begin there.
Well, thank you very much, Reverend.
Yeah.
And this is actually a very great topic. And in life, so that we get to tax, in life they say there are three constant things. One, when you are born. Like now we were born. You have a date that you say I was born.
Okay.
There is the other thing that you say one day you'll exit this world. So it is constant. You are born and you'll die one day. But in the process of being born and the death, one of the things that you must pay is what we call tax. And it is good you are bringing that topic today because it is something that Kenyans have to pay all and every other time. The only question that we have, and I agree with the Anglican, actually it is a panel of quite the religious leaders. They are actually feeling that this is not the right way to do the things that the government is doing. You see what is happening in terms of the tax, and that's where the problem is that all the time in this Kenyan economy, KRA has only been able to raise not more than 2 trillion every year. But now we are pushing it harder. We want at least to reach 3.6 trillion. So this amount of money, you realize that there before, what the Kenyan government used to do is actually it used to budget even shortfalls. And it could say that these shortfalls will be able to get it by actually borrowing some money from other countries or from other organizations. Right now, the Kenya Kwanza government, what they have said is that we don't want to increase debt, though the debt is increasing, but not at that alarming rate. So what are they trying to do? They are trying to get that deficit to cover it because it has to be there. They are trying to cover it through introducing some taxes into the economy, into the Kenyan economy, which obviously, and I agree very much with the other speakers for Anglican, they are actually, it is going to hurt the Kenyans in a very big way. In fact, I was talking to someone and I was telling them, you realize there was a BBI. This is going to be another BBI. Unless the government is going to force it through the people's throat, this is unlikely to go through. Because it is actually something, it is a very difficult position for the Kenyan people. And you see, when we talk about taxes, there are quite a number of taxes that we talk about. There is actually the direct taxes,
Yeah.
Whereby sometimes you don't even realize you are actually paying these taxes, because if you go to the supermarket, everything is taxed. If you go and put fuel in your car, there is a tax which is there. So what is happening is that there is what they call now, there is that direct tax, and there is what they call the sin tax, which is for luxuries things, which at least the sin tax, many people may not actually go to it.
Okay.
But what we are saying is that there are some taxes which actually affects the common man in such a big way.
Yeah.
Right now, if you look at the cost of living, it is not a very good position for the Kenyan people. There are several people who are not even able even to pay school fees. You see, like then the children have gone to school. There are so many parents who are in arrears. But some of the things which are being introduced, they will actually hurt the Kenyan people. And I can start with one. It is very good that they are talking about, because all this is actually in terms of that finance bill, because I know many people are talking about the finance bill. There are quite of some few things that they want to introduce. And one of the thing is that there is going to be the change in terms of NSSF, which is good in terms of saving.
Okay.
And there is something to do with NHIF. Now, if we look at that, what is happening is that, and there is the housing. There is the housing, because they are saying every person must own a house. The question is, if we start like with the housing. The government want to introduce a 3%.
3%, yes.
This 3%, what will mean is that the 3%, your net salary, if you used to earn like around 18,000, your net salary will come down to around 17, because they are taxing two people. That will go to the worker, which is the employee, and also the employer. So what will happen is that, so it is a 6%. So what will happen? It is a 6%, yes.
Okay.
So what will happen is, the employer is supposed, when you contribute a 3%, the employer is supposed also to contribute 3%
for you.
Now, the problem that we have, the timing is ill in terms of what the government is trying to do. Because the businesses have come from a very difficult position. You remember from 2020,
and all that.
2020, 2021, most of the business, they did not even survive. The ones which survived, what has happened is that they are still trying to catch up to be able even to make profits. So the question is, will these employers be able to add a cost?
Okay.
So that what will happen is, several things are likely to happen to the employees. Is that, number one, they are going to have a reduction in terms of what they take home. The question is, Reverend, when you are hungry, is it the time for you to save? And I think that is a question we need several people to answer us. If, for example, you don't have enough money for food, how much money will you be able to save? The answer is straightforward. It is not possible for you to save.
Possible.
You cannot be saving and not paying the school fees. So what we are realizing is that the amount of money that is available for a Kenyan person is going to be way less. The number two is, several people might be fired because the employer will come and say, I have no capacity to pay a 3% addition. In fact, some of them, they wanted even to reduce the pay. You remember even during the COVID time, for many companies to be able to survive, they had to reduce the salaries of the people. To have. So these are the things, the dynamics which we are saying. Some of the things that the government want to introduce is actually, the timing is not right, given where the economy of the country is.
You see now, people, whatever the government is taxing people, is taxing people to meet a certain need. Maybe we can take some time and focus on that need. The national need. Correct. If we can so call it. The national need. They don't tax for luxury.
Correct.
So how is the government pressed is it justified? And if then they will not, like the Anglican bishops are saying, if they will not be able to implement this tax, then what are the alternatives for the government?
Well, I think Kenyan is adult.
Yes.
We have a lot of resources leveraged. And I think why Kenya is the way it is because we don't want to activate all the resources that we have.
Okay.
Look at, we have always said, and I think that's one dimension which they are doing right. We have said that Kenya is an agricultural country.
Yeah.
But there are so many arable lads which can produce, but right now they are lying idle.
Okay.
You realize it was easy for us to have a plan on how are we going to generate from our resources which are lying idle right now. There are so many. So you realize that the government, what it is doing, it is only trying to look at only one element that we can get money from the Kenyan people.
Yeah.
But they are not looking at how well can we generate. Because look, leverage.
Yeah.
It is very true. And when you hear a sitting president say something, it is something which is factual. It is true thing. You see, when the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta,
yeah,
when he was in the leadership as the president, he said one thing: we are losing in the tune of 2 billion every other day.
Okay.
This money, if there is a plan even to recover, not 2 billion, even a billion, do you know actually what we are talking about? Almost the deficit the government is talking about right now. They are able to get to improve the budget that they have by in the tunes of 300 billion to 400 billion. And it is a process that we are saying. So what we are saying, instead of going to tax the Kenyan people, why don't you first of all deal with this corruption? Because we know the corruption is what is making this country not to get where it's supposed to be. And that's why we are saying every other thing. We are talking about power. We are talking about many things. And I was actually even challenging someone and asking them, every year there is a supplementary budget.
Yeah.
Supplementary budget going to a company like KQ. Do you want to tell me that KQ cannot make profit at any one particular time? It is because there are uncontrolled expansions which may not be necessary.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have to do all those expansions
that you need at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And these are the things whereby we are fighting, because every other time Kenya Airways has to get supplementary. It is the money that they are taxing the people to give as the supplementary to organizations which are not performing. Now, if they want to deal with this, and I think there was a bill that they had brought about, whereby you can actually look at some of the government like institutions, and you say this one, what we need to do is we need actually to have a partnership with the private.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the private is not wasteful. The government is very wasteful. And this is where now even you could hear the David D talking about budgeting for wastage. I can tell you why we are paying some taxes right now today. It's because there is a lot of wastage. And I would say the first thing that we need to do, we need to handle the corruption, make sure we stop Kenya from breeding in all these corrupt deals and many other things. We save the amount, the 2 billion which is getting lost. Even up to today, we have not been told how much money have we been able to recover from all these corrupt deals.
Yeah.
And then after that, we need at least to look at the efficiencies of the institutions, the government institutions.
Yeah.
Because some of the government institutions, we are keeping on pumping money into them.
Okay.
But the production is very little.
we are taxing to meet needs that we can avoid.
True.
And to finance institutions that are not well performing.
Correct.
Relate the national debt obligations. with the taxes. Is it really necessary? And are you telling Kenyans that it is not really so necessary to tax Kenyans this much?
Well, let me say one thing.
From an expert's point of view.
Yes. Yeah. I would say one thing. We are where we are.
Okay.
And I can tell you, where we are partly is because of poor governance.
Okay.
In the sense that we also took a lot of debts which were uncontrolled.
Yeah.
The question is, these debts that we are paying today, did we get value on these debts? That's the question number one.
Yeah.
The answer is, it is a yes and a no. Why is it that I am saying it is an yes and no? Like now, if you look at the debts we are paying today, levered, we are paying the debts like for SGR.
Yeah.
The SGR is a good thing in terms of people are happy. In terms of I can go to SGR, go to Mombasa and take very few hours to go to Mombasa.
Yeah.
But the question is, when we were actually incurring that debt, was it the actual debt that we ought to have incurred at that particular time? The answer is no. Therefore, you see, those debts that we are paying today, we have been put into paying debts which were not productive in the first place.
Okay.
Now, what we are saying is our inefficiency should not be taken to the Mwananchi. That we are now trying to bring Mwananchi to their ground. For them to pay for the mistakes which we did. The question is, we have to pay taxes, but we must also be mindful about the Kenyan people. In the sense that, let me say, for example, there are quite some few small businesses which have actually been importing. You know, like even there are some few things that people have been importing. Like now you have seen they are introducing the excise duty in terms of importing the beauty, some of the beauty products and all these kind of things. And you realize that some of the people, the businesses that we are talking about, some of the people will be out of the business. Because there are several people will say, I will not put the fake beards. And that is it. And they forget about it. So the taxes that the government is trying to get from actually putting the duty on these things, the demand is going to be very low because the prices will be high. Several people will be out of the businesses. And that's where we are saying, for me, I would say the government need to be very sensitive into what it is doing, especially on the people of Kenya. There are some taxes that we must pay, but the thing is, the taxes is a must, leverage we must pay. But be reasonable in terms of the taxes you are charging your people. And when you get this tax, let it be put into a productive use for the Kenyan people.
Okay. Wow. Well said and very articulate on that matter. Of course, some government officers or officials have said we are not taxed beyond other countries. I want us to take a short break, but when we return, we want to compare our taxes here in Kenya, the taxes in other countries, and see are we alone on our own island, or it's like the situation of every other nation around us. We take a short break. We'll be right back.
One would ask, who is God of the Bible? Where did the world come from? Is man basically good? What is the hope of man after this life? Is Jesus God? What does the Bible really say about Christianity? How did God come to exist? Is the Bible really the Word of God? This and many other questions on religion need answers. Join teachers of the Word and theologians every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. on the program Bible Theology Show, where all your questions will be answered, only on EBN TV.
And we are back, and welcome. Thank you for being together with us in this conversation. Cost of living, taxes in this country is our conversation. David Kamau is with us here to help us answer these questions.
Yes.
So some of the government officials are saying they don't know why Kenyans are crying so much because we are not taxed beyond other countries. We are not. Well, so please, can you help us? Because for us Kenyans, we feel it is too heavy on us. Then a government official, I'm trying to get the person that I have is straight here, talking about other countries are paying. In fact, one of them says they are raising the taxes so that we come at par with other East African countries. Please take it up.
Well, let me say that Kenyans don't have a very big problem with taxes.
Okay.
The main problem that Kenyans have is actually when we are taxed, does that money go to a productive venture?
Okay.
And therefore, comparing like the East African countries with Kenya, it may not be the right way. You know, let me give you a very good example. Let's go to Tanzania.
Yeah.
I know why they are saying that like the taxes, they are a little bit higher is because like the Tanzania right now, their VAT is at 18%. Even you may find even Uganda, they are at 18%. Ours in Kenya is 16%. So when someone looks at it like that, they will say that, you see, Kenya, we are actually even below by 2% points, which is okay. But the question is, let me say, why are we taxing the Kenyans? Is to pay debts. Is Tanzania doing the same thing? Are they paying debts by the money that they are collecting? The answer is no. What they have done, they have used their money to develop their country, Tanzania. When we were actually busy going to China and any other places to borrow money, the Tanzanian government said we will be able to build our roads
and finance
it
with our
own money.
Okay.
So today, how many things are we importing from Uganda? Uganda is actually the second largest that we are actually importing things from. Tanzania right now, in terms of, you remember even the time, like the onions. There are times we talked with you here.
Yeah.
That actually the Tanzania, they could actually flood Kenya with onions such that the farmers, the Kenyan farmers, they would not even be able to sell.
Yeah.
Why? Because the production cost in Kenya is very high as compared to the production cost in Tanzania. So the thing is that we are saying, them they are looking at just some few abstract figures.
Yeah.
For us, we are looking at the economy. Is our economy generating to allow Kenyans to be able to pay the taxes they are talking about? Because they cannot just compare just a figure. They need also to look at the production level. And we are saying that right now, it is not that we are raising taxes for production. We are raising taxes for debt. And that is the difference between the East African countries and Kenya.
But now here, I think the issue is a matter of cost of living. Kenyans want commodities to cost less.
Correct.
Whether they are financing loans or they are financing, like now, if I look like one of the tweets here, Treasury CS Juguna Ndungu says Kenya among East Africa countries with low taxes, and adds that Finance Bill 2023 proposals are made to align with regional nations. Yes.
That's where, Reverend, we are saying,
yeah,
they also need to compare in terms of the net worth of the country. Because I can tell you, you can be having a very high figure at the top level.
Okay.
But you can have a very low figure in terms of your net worth. The challenge that we have is that Kenya, right now, its net worth is lower. And they have the statistics. They can look into the statistics. It's going to be lower than some of the country in the East African country. A good example is the Tanzania. Why? It is because they may not generate what you are generating, but they are not, in terms of when you look at their expenditures, is actually
they
lower.
Are within their means.
Yes, they are within their means. And therefore, when they are saying like that, we have no problem in you taxing us when you are enabling us to be able to produce. Because why are you taxing me on what I don't have? My small salary, you want to tax it into such, put so many taxes. They put so many taxes on that, such that at the end of the day, I have nothing. So what we are saying is, we don't really care much if, for example, we are able to have, you see, today we are struggling with people who don't have jobs.
Yeah.
Look at how many people don't have jobs right now. So one pay slip leveraged right now, it is feeding a community. Okay. The Kenyan people. There's a few people who are employed. They are feeding their children. They are feeding their parents. They are paying some small loans and all those kind of things. So what we are saying is, if you keep on taxing the Kenyans people and the way the economy is, they are not able to generate a lot of money. What you realize is that the Kenyan people, the cost of living we are talking about, Kenyans people are going to be in a constant struggle. And that is where the challenge is.
Help us to understand, because now we have, yesterday it came out clearly that we are going to have a VAT on petroleum products.
Yes.
And Kenyans had a lot of hope after the government-to-government deal with Saudi Arabia. Is it Saudi Arabia?
Yes, correct.
That we will, at least the cost of fuel will go down. Now we are talking about VAT on, do you see cost of fuel going down any day soon?
Actually, even today, I was listening to news, and I can tell you, it is going to take a very long time before we see a downtrend in terms of the fuel. You see, like what we are talking about introducing, and I wish I came with a formula for the petroleum product.
Oh, okay.
And you find more than 47% is actually on taxes. And you load it also with some taxes. The margin actually for the dealers, for the dealers and the marketers, for the oil, for every other person, it's around 12 shilling. Whatever we are paying here in the petrol stations, and even what we are buying from the pipeline, it is only 12 shillings that is distributed to all these people.
Yeah.
You find the huge cost in this fuel is actually right now as we speak is still the government taxes, which they are intending again to increase. So what will happen when they increase these taxes? What will happen is that the price will not come down. The price is going to go up.
Okay.
Now, the question is, the Kenyans that we are taxing are the same people that we want them to go to work. By which means are they going to go to work? Number one, some of the Kenyans will be forced to trek. Then number two, when you get into a matatu right now, because of the cost of fuel is actually going to be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
The fares are also going to be high. And therefore, that's why we are saying the Kenyans people are like cornered from every dimension. It is actually there. And that's why I'm saying their meager pay is actually going down and down because transport costs are going to be higher. There is also now the taxes is that we are talking about. Like diesel is actually one of the component in terms of the production.
Yeah.
You find even in the farms, the big farms, what do they use? They use the tractors and
they use petroleum.
Yes, they use diesel.
Yeah.
So even in terms of the production that we are talking about, the production cost, especially now for where the tractors are being used and all that, again it is going to go up. So can you look at what we are doing? We are actually trying to help this side, but we are actually now making ourselves, instead of actually going down, we are increasing some of the costs.
Maybe we also need to look at global trends on cost of living. Across the globe, is like I've seen several countries demonstrating about high cost of living, and the president promised that cost of living will come down. Are we okay? What is true? What should Kenyans expect? Because if cost of living will not come down, then but Kenyans must be informed, so that now they dig deeper, or maybe they look for ways of mitigating their issues. But compared to global trends on cost of living and our situation here back at home, where are we? Are we in tandem with the global trends, or we are on our own?
Now there is what they call the balanced trade. You see, there is the exports and the imports in this country. One of the main challenge that we have, and I will tell you a very small example, because Kenyans may be able to relate with this. Kenya produces coffee. It produces tea. Let's give an example of coffee. How many Kenyans consume coffee? And the Kenyans who are consuming coffee, do you know where they are getting the coffee from? It is actually, even in the hotels when you go, it's that we are actually taking our raw materials out of the country. The coffee is processed. When it comes actually from those countries, it is coming with a price which is like 10 times the cost that we can produce here. The thing is, what is happening, and that is where the problem is coming in, is because right now as we look at Kenya, there is no balance in terms of the trade. You find that we are importing more than what we are exporting. And that's why we are fighting, even in terms of the currencies, in terms of the dollars. You see, like the dollars right now, the dollar, it's still actually way high. It has not been where it is right now. It is because right now we are doing a lot of importing and transactions in dollars. But how much dollars are we getting in terms of exporting what we are producing here in Kenya? So if we look at it, and that's where we are saying the Kenyan people, actually they will be, I would be honest, there is going to be a bit of pain.
There's going to be a bit
there is going to be a bit of pain.
There's this global trend that is happening right now on de-dollarization. You have heard that? It's like the dollar has been used to fix people in the world. If you want somebody to a country to go down, there's a way they play with the dollar. If they want to upset your trading, they use the dollar. And then now there is a dollarization. And please tie all these things together, because I know we don't live on our own village. We live in a global village.
You see, that's true what you have said. The only thing is that when you realize there is an issue, it is actually you must move very fast in terms of trying to address this. I know the government has tried to address that in terms of the importation, especially on the fuel products. You see, now they have actually tried now to salvage our dollars by actually getting like 6 months credit in terms of the fuel products, so that the 30% that we have been using on the dollars now, it is actually not a very urgent need at this particular time, so that the country can be able to create its dollar reserves. Let me say, we were colonized, and this is a fact.
Yeah.
I think Kenya was colonized by the British.
Yeah, by the British.
We were colonized, and I tell you, even up to today, those powers are also trying to see how they can colonize the developing countries in one way. They are not very happy that they are not able to control. Why do they want to colonize the Kenyans people, or not only the Kenyans, as we are saying, quite a number of countries?
Yeah.
It is because they realize there is a lot of potential in terms of resources.
Yeah.
And if they can take control of the resources, they would be able to bring their companies from, let's say, for example, from now British, they can be able to come here, and within a short time they can be able to generate. But they want to do what we call the capital flight. When they generate, the money will not help the Kenyans. What will happen is the money will go abroad. So the thing is, what is happening in terms of now these dollars and all these issues, it is actually, as you have said, it is a world challenge.
Yeah.
But it is actually the country, you see, our leadership, they need to go and think, how do we deal with these dollar situations? How can we increase on our exports so that we can be paid in dollars? Because obviously the time they have imported your things, you have taken them, you've exported, the payment is going to be in dollars. At that particular time, even if they are trying to see what to do with the dollars, they have to pay you.
Okay.
And I know we have the capacity to be able to export more and more, because Kenya has resources.
Yeah.
And that's what we said about Jack Ma. He is here in the Googles. People can lead. Jack Ma, the only thing that he did is actually looking at the economies and saying, here in China we produce a lot, but it is not in Europe.
Yeah.
So how can we make sure that what we produce in this country gets to Europe? And now that is how he has created an empire, a very big empire.
Okay.
And that's where I'm keeping on emphasizing, we as Kenyans, we need to increase on our export, and it will sort out even the dollar issues.
All right. What can the president do to help the cost of living to come down?
Number one, you see, we must be mindful about the Kenyan people, and we remove politics.
That's
when
right.
it comes to the cost of living, it is not a one-man show.
Yeah.
It is actually all our leaders, whether they are in opposition, whether they are in the government, they need to take the Kenyans people as number one. They come together and they give the strategies on what is it that we can do. Because you see, like the member of parliament, when you go to the member of parliament, are the member of parliaments Kenya Kwanza member of parliaments? No, they are actually member of parliaments from the whole country. That is the whole divide, which is the opposition. And we need now, like the members of parliament, to be very active in terms of looking at the Kenyans and forget about all these issues of politics, 27 politics. They need actually to do away with these things, and they address some few issues. Because I can tell you right now, what the government is trying to do, it takes time. And you see, like the production, I have seen in even the bipartisan, it is going now to take like 60 days. I know by that 60 days, a lot of many things will have been sorted out. In terms of even the cost of living, kidogo, it will come down. In terms of there will be harvests and all these kind of things. So there are several things which are going to work. But we are saying that harvesting may take a bit of time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right now, today, I listened again. Today, the millers, you know what the millers are saying? The challenge they have, they don't have enough maize
to mill. Yeah.
So that is one of the challenge that needs. So we needed at least our legislators to sit down and go and say, Kenya is lacking in terms. What do we do to sort out this gap? And therefore, it is actually a concerted effort from everyone, from the leadership.
Yes.
We need not to politic too much. I think the Kenyan, where we have a problem is we are always in politics.
Yeah.
And not looking at the way and means, ensuring that the people who put us in these offices, we are able now to look at ways and means of making sure that their life is comfortable. Okay. So I would say the biggest thing leveraged right now is politics in Kenya. If we can reduce on politics and we get into motions in having strategies of sorting out the Kenyans people, I think we would be a little bit far in terms of bringing the cost of living down. But every time it is politic time, which is a bad thing for the Kenyan people.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the much the president can do.
Yes.
And there's something he can do.
He can.
It does not have to be this costly.
No.
There are other things he can do to cushion Kenyans.
Yeah, he can. By the way, let me tell you, these people right now, because the president is leading, is the one who is actually at the top right now. Some of the politicians, some of the people he has, them they will actually say ni Kenya Kwanza. He needs to tone them down and tell them, right now we are not on parties. We are on one country called Kenya.
Yeah.
So when I hear you talk about Kenyan people. You see, like yesterday, I saw something about the former prime minister. He was in Nyando.
Yes.
And one of the things that he said is that some of the project which was started for that region, they have been stopped.
Diverted, yeah.
They have been diverted. The monies have been taken to other issues. You see now, this is where I'm saying the politics that is in Kenya is destructive.
Okay.
So I believe the president is actually a symbol of unity. One thing that he needs to do is actually he needs to bring all Kenyans together. And even the oppositions, they need at least, first of all, to look at Kenya as a bigger picture, not really looking at their own small issues. And I feel that the president has a lot of work to do in terms of making sure that he is bringing productivity. And he should actually tone down his people and tell them, look, politics is too much. Now it is not for politics. Let's discuss economies. Let's discuss agriculture. Let's discuss about this VAT from a point, because right now, now you are seeing the bill, this finance bill.
Yeah.
You know, there is a lot of politics in this finance bill.
Okay.
Because if you go to Kenya Kwanza, they want to pass it as is. You go to the opposition, they want it
to oppose it as it is.
So let me ask you, Reverend, what time will they be working for the Kenyans people in terms of bringing down the cost? They are lobbying.
So the finance bill is the one that is now raising the taxes. That is the one that will raise the taxes.
Correct.
Okay. Well, we take a short break again, and when we return, we want to know whether the government should keep on the expansionism kind of push when sometimes we can put some projects on hold so that we can cushion Kenyans from, that cost, because if we are doing things and if we are still investing on things that are reflecting hard on the Kenyan income, and then it pushes our cost of living up. And we will want to talk about that when we return after this break. Please don't go back very far. We'll be right back. Okay.
With great love and joy, I specially welcome you to worship with us at Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu. This is a true family church, a true spiritual home. Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu is home to exuberant prayers, deep and true worship. A house of prayer that will leave you feeling refreshed. Our first service starts at 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. and our second service starts at 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. On Wednesdays, we have our midweek service from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and every Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. we have our night of glory. This is the church you have been looking for. This is the place for your spiritual growth and maturity. See you this Sunday and karibu sana.
All right, we are back with the conversation. I think this is the last session in our conversation today. And I quote the president saying that the contribution you make to the housing fund is not tax. That is your money. And I listened to him speaking very emphatically yesterday on that we must make sure the hustlers have houses, and we must finance the hustlers' mortgage. And he cited that the MPs they got their mortgage for their houses, and the hustlers also need to have mortgage. Please try to explain to us, because what Kenyans are wondering is, should we continue expanding, and we are on expansion push, while we can maybe slow down and lie low a little bit to allow the harsh times to pass, and then maybe we can have harvest, and maybe we can bring down the cost of fuel and things like that, because the costs are going up, but the government also wants to invest more, do more, keep on running the projects. And I think he said, I think I saw him saying somewhere that don't betray me. I'm not the one who said we build cheap houses. It was started. I'm just continuing what has been passed for us to. So can we put some of these projects on hold?
Well, Reverend, you have said it. Actually, what you have ended up by saying is that there are some projects that we can put on hold. Why are we saying this? You see, sometimes your actually ability to say I was wrong on this one is also a strength.
Oh, okay.
Many people, they think that because, you see, like now, the manifesto for Kenya Kwanza, it talked about the low cost housing. Even I think the former president Uhuru, he had started the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and I like what he is talking about, but also I don't agree with him 100%. It is good for Kenyan people to own houses.
Yeah.
It is not, actually, for Kenyan people to own houses is something which is good.
Yeah.
But the question that we are asking about is the timing right for us to do what we are doing.
Okay.
Because you can actually say, I want to own a house, but have they interrogated, and that's what we started by saying, the capacity of the Kenyan people in terms of doing those deductions they are talking about? Because I can tell you, you see, this he is saying it is true, it is not tax.
Yeah.
It is actually money that will come to the Kenyan people, maybe to you, if you have been contributing, maybe after 7 years, you are able to get this money, or it can be transferred to your relatives and such kind of things. So it is true, it is not. But where we are saying is, we have not gotten to that level that Kenyans, we force them, the percentages we are forcing them to save is actually very high. Because the 3% is actually not something that the employer is going to take and say, I am paying for you the 3%, and also I am increasing in terms of the net amount of money that every Kenyans will get, the people who are in formal employment, is going to come down. What we are saying is, why would I struggle? Because life, you must also not get down so much in terms of life for you to own something. It will not be a joy, in the sense that you've gone without food. Many people are going to suffer to the extent that they will not have any value for those houses. In the sense that, are you actually making the economy to be able to produce for the Kenyan people to be to do the 3%? Let me show you a very one of the things that is happening, and it is actually, that's why I'm saying the whole of this bill, I don't think the government has really looked at it critically for them to start telling us. Do you know one of the things they are actually introducing
in the
for the
finance
hustlers.
bill.
Yes, in this finance bill for the hustlers is what we call turnover tax. This is one tax. It has been there at 1%. Do you know this finance bill? It is proposing that the turnover tax is going to go to 3%. And this turnover tax, you know what it means? Every hustler right now as we speak, most of them, the hustlers we are saying, the SMEs and all these kind of people, even the people who are selling the mama burgers, sometimes they can sell even 1,500 in a day. That is the total sales.
Yeah.
They can sell in that one day. They have said if you are earning 500,000 to 15 million,
yeah,
you will actually be getting to pay 3% turnover tax. This turnover tax we are talking about is tax which is going to be straight on your sales. It is not on your net profit.
Okay.
It is actually you sell 1,000, 3% of that is actually taxing. It is taxed. It goes now to turnover tax. Okay. What does that mean?
And it is in the finance bill?
It is in that finance bill.
Okay.
So what that means at the end of the day, you go to something like milk leverage, because several people are having some kiosks, and they are selling things like the milk. They are margin, the bottom line. They are margin. If they look at this is my sale figure, I'm selling the milk at 60 bob. I bought this milk at what? Maybe 50. So you are looking at what percentage do they make as the profit? Yeah. Because there is electricity, there is an employee to be paid there. Yeah. There are so many
and even cost of transport.
Cost of transport on that. You find they are not even making a 3% margin. Yet you have already taken that margin upfront on every sale.
It's like bleeding.
So that's where that's why we are actually asking. And this bill, that's why we are looking at it and asking ourselves a question. Is the government very serious about what it is talking about? And that's why we are saying these issues they are introduced, it is the same. This 3%, it is actually in the same thing, that the bill. Okay. So what we are saying, this bill is actually a bill which is not going to help the Kenyans.
Do you have most of the content of the bill? Because I think we can get more time.
Yes.
Maybe in the beginning of next week, one of the days early in the next week.
Yes, I have it.
So that we can discuss the finance bill in its entirety.
Yes.
But what are some of the things that are in that bill?
One of the other things that is in that turnover tax is what turnover tax is there. The excise duty.
The excise duty.
In terms of the other issue.
VAT on petroleum.
The other issue is, do you know?
The 3% of the on housing.
Yes. Then there is another one. There is this we were talking about things like the beards, the fake beards, and all that. All that. Then there is actually one which is actually also a very bad one. And this is killing the hustlers.
Okay.
You know, if you look at the digital, in terms of, you see, like the production that the young people are doing, in terms of the YouTubes and all these kind of things, what they are saying in terms of the digital line, you are actually going to be taxed a withholding tax 15%.
The digital
the market, you see, like the way you are finding the young people, they are generating money
and content creation.
Yes, content creations and all that. They will actually be paying a 15% withholding tax. That
any digital
yes, that income they used to get,
job that you
do. That income they used to get, it is going to attract a 15% withholding tax. So are you really helping the hustlers, or are you making the hustlers to have a very difficult life? That digital withholding tax is actually also something which is going to strain the young people. And the other issue which is also in that, because we will cover all of them.
Okay.
I am only covering the ones which I am seeing.
No, we may come here maybe on Tuesday or on Wednesday, so that we can go through the finance bill. And
the other one is, for example, you fight KRA. They say that you have a debt to pay. You know what now they have said? If, for example, you have to go to tribunal.
Yeah.
If you have an issue, like the way you saw like Keroche.
Yeah.
See, they had an issue in terms of several billions. They are being told that you owe KRA these several billions. What is in this bill, what they want to do, is that before you go to arbitration, you must deposit 25% on their money that is in question. 25%. That is before you go for any arbitration.
I've seen people that have been already slapped with 1 billion tax.
Correct. You see now what we are saying. Some of these businesses.
So 25% is 250 billion.
Billion. That's what we are saying. Many of these businesses, they don't have the capacity right now to be able to deposit that amount of money. So what are you doing to the businesses? Is the businesses which are employing the hustlers.
Yeah.
You are actually telling this person, stop production. Because their cash flow will not allow. So this thing, and that's why we are saying, let's reduce politics. And let's look at this thing critically, and we say, this is the whole government issue. Are we safe with Kenyans when we are actually introducing all these things? Leave the politics alone, because some of the things, they are not going to help us. And therefore, that's why we are saying the government need to be very careful in terms of pushing things to the Kenyan people. They need to listen more than just politicking. So that is the position I would say, and that is let's be a listening government. Let's not be a government that is going to bulldoze things to the Kenyans people, because we are making the Kenyans people to suffer.
And you know, even when people elect leaders, they elect leaders so that those leaders can think about them.
True.
And work for them and, you know, help them. In matters that they struggle with. It should not appear that leaders are the ones that are coming to make the life of the people that elected them more difficult. So really the government needs to put into consideration all these things, and we will come back here, and maybe we will have one more expert who will come, and then we just dissect the finance bill for the benefit of our viewers. But for today, we have to end it there. And David Kamau, you've done well. You've called it as it is. And thank you for being bold enough even to dissect it like you've done today. Thank you so much for being here. And my dear viewers, God bless you. Have a good day. We will be here maybe around Tuesday or Wednesday, and come and talk about the finance bill. Please watch this space. Do not be left behind. We will be making it known to you when we shall come and dissect the whole of the finance bill. And until next time, God bless you and give you peace.
Thank you.